What's going on, guys? It's Hunter and Emma from H&E Outdoors, and we actually have a great idea for a video today. We figured because it's February 3rd, and as you can see, we are standing in mush right now because it is actually 55 degrees out right now. And like I said, it's February 3rd, so it's about shed hunting season. So I hope that you guys do enjoy this video. We are going to show you everything that you need to know about finding that white gold and picking up some of your first sheds and just having a more successful shed hunting season. So hope you guys enjoy. You guys don't have to take these tips from me, but I just want to show you really quickly before we get into everything. My shed hunting has been really well the past few years, and the results have shown by doing these simple tricks. I've found a bunch of big sheds like these. I found some deadheads like this one, and it's just been a great experience out there. So I hope that you guys do take into consideration about these tips and tricks, and I hope that you enjoy the video. Alright guys, so we're going to jump right into this so we do not stall you anymore and you can get out there and start shed hunting, or at least learning how. So step one is you need to find deer. You've got to find deer, and once you find deer, then you know you're in a good spot. I know it seems very obvious, but try hunting coyotes where there's not coyotes, or deer where there's not deer. You have got to find deer first. That is the number one step, by far the most important. Find deer first and then shed hunt those areas. If you do not have deer at your spot, you're not going to find sheds. Step two is actually something that a lot of people do not know about. Step two is about timing, when you want to get your feet on the ground and start looking for sheds. As you can see, we did find a spot for deer, so that part is done. However, you don't want to go in too early. A lot of people believe that if you get your boots on the ground early and start looking for sheds in January and super early February, that it's a really good thing because it obviously can't hurt, but the actual reality behind it is before these deer shed their antlers, before the majority of them do, you can actually push all the deer off your property from walking around aimlessly in the woods looking for something that isn't there yet. So my recommendation is actually to stay out of your woods until it is time to actually look for the sheds. I mean, you can come in, put your food in, check your trail cameras, do what you need to do, but then get out. I do not recommend walking around very far before shed season really officially begins. And the way to know, you can always Google. Where I am right now, I'm in Pennsylvania, north central Pennsylvania, and our sheds hit the ground. The majority are on the ground by mid-March, early March, so I'm actually not going to shed hunt yet. I'm just going to continue checking my trail cameras and checking the corn feeders until then, and that's when I'm really going to start walking around. But where you are, you can always just Google and see what the perfect time is that it actually shows you when your type of animal, whichever you're shed hunting for, elk, mule deer, or whitetail, see what time they're shedding their antlers at in your area, and that's the best way to know. So step three is actually a way, if you don't have that much property or not much land or not much deer on your land, this is a good way to bring them in so that you can have more sheds concentrated in one spot. What I recommend is a corn feeder, a spot where you can centralize the deer to come to one spot so you can check the paths in and out from there when you're shed hunting. But most of all, it just keeps your deer on your land, especially after you've, I'm sure, all harvested multiple big bucks in rifle season. You want to get the other ones back in so that they can enjoy your property again and give you another shot at them next year. So corn feeders are definitely the way to go, and I'll even show you about a 10-second clip right now of me getting these corn feeders out here. And that's how to do a corn feeder. Alright guys, so here is another spot that we had a corn feeder filled, but actually on the way up here I noticed that there was a monster track, so I'm really excited to see what kind of deer that is. I know it's a big one, but anyway, I want to move on to the next step here, and I want to say use your tools, guys. If you've got a trail camera, use it. It's worth it. To be able to monitor deer and not only know what you're looking for, but to know when you need to look for it. You can stick these corn feeders out in January if you want to, right after hunting season's over. And then put a trail camera on it and keep checking that trail camera every week. And as soon as you see that that buck that you're watching has shed its antlers, that's time to go out and try to find them. So we're going to go ahead and get this trail camera up, and then we'll be back with the next step. Alright guys, so we're perfectly in line with the corn feeder right now. We're just getting the camera out like I just said. Great thing to do is just get your trail cameras out and start monitoring. I'm excited to see what kind of deer that was making all those giant footprints, but we'll know soon. Not quite sure what happened here, but I'll let you guys decide why this turkey decided to bring that piece of corn up in that tree. I figured it would be a squirrel. When I saw it from over there, I wasn't sure. It flew.
I mean, I don't know why it would put in all the effort to do that.
I'm not sure. I feel like
Maybe
it's definitely...
it for later.
I feel like there was definitely a squirrel here, and it got there. I just can't see the tracks in the snow for some reason. But it does look like a turkey walked up to this tree and flew in that. I don't know. Check out the size of these buck tracks. It's crazy. But we're gonna follow them back so that we can show you guys the next step, which I know about where they are when they do this next step. But we're gonna follow this giant buck's tracks all the way out, and maybe, just maybe, you would have lost an antler between here and there. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, guys, so the next step that I want to show you is bedding. Bedding areas are really good for sheds because if you want to think about it for a minute, think, where's a deer going to spend the most time? Where do you personally spend most of your time? You spend it in your bed. So when you find these beds, I personally know my property, so I know that the deer in our property like to bed right in these pines right here, and you can kind of tell, kind of not. There's quite a bit of tracks around if you look, but you can really see on the ground here that this is where they like to bed. They typically bed at the top of a ridge away from roads and other public places that people travel often. And you want to look here because they'll lose their sheds all the time when they're laying in their beds. So I'm actually going to do a little circle real quick around this bedding area and make sure there's no sheds sitting here. And then I'll get on to the next step. But another tip I wanted to add on is just know your property. If you guys go out and you do your scouting, you're going to be able to find these sheds a lot easier because you're going to know where the deer are and you're going to know typically where they do lose their sheds. All right, guys, so another quick step. As you can see, it's getting dark, so we're going to try to wrap it all up in one shot here. So get ready for some rapid fire tips here. So first of all, if you guys don't have that much land, don't be afraid to go around and ask some people to get some land, because if you can find some farmland that of people that just don't care to shed hunt or don't mind it, go ahead and ask them. The worst they can say is no. The more land you have, the better chance you have. Another thing is the obvious stuff. Routine paths to food. In the winter, obviously the deer want food. But I want to tell you guys, the more obvious things are obviously the food plots and routine paths. But the less obvious stuff I want you guys to realize is when you plant your food plots before deer season, actually consider planting things like turnips or brassicas that bloom later on in the year. If you do things like clover or oats, they will be great in archery season or rifle season, but about this time when the deer are losing their antlers, they will not be that good. If you plant some turnips, they'll be in there in the food plots right now when they're losing their sheds, so you got a possibility of getting that. Another tip I want to give you guys is work smart, don't work hard. If you guys have a four-wheeler or something that you can get off the road with, use it. Instead of walking this monstrous field here, which I know has tons of deer in it, that goes 500 yards that way and 500 yards this way, instead of walking that whole thing for sheds, hop on a four-wheeler or on a side-by-side and cruise back and forth in rows so you don't have to walk this whole field. And the last one, guys, I want to hit you with is to make sure you have a great time out here. Make sure you get out here. Bring your friends and family out here. I know Emma and I have an absolutely amazing time out here. Enjoy this beautiful scenery that we always do. It's a great time out here. Get out here, try to find some white gold, and I will see you guys in the next one. I hope I did help you out with some tips and tricks today for shed hunting. I know we had a great day in this warm, early February day, getting out here and being able to record and look at all the beautiful scenery again. But anyways, like I said, enjoy the video. If you did, consider subscribing and leaving a comment below. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.